Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I hope this stream, I hope this space gives you just a moment to breathe. It's been a long week. Tonight is just about sailing, talking, and relaxing a bit, and moving into the weekend for a reset. It's been a long week for a lot of people, so let's just slow down and talk through it and just rest a bit. You know, one of the challenges that we experience throughout the week, whether it be job, school, family, is we have that pressure to, keep everything together, keep everything moving, keep the boss happy, keep your teachers or your, professors happy, and keep your family happy as well. And a lot of people face a lot of pressure with that, I think. And it can be quite challenging, it can be quite stressful. And so we're going to talk about getting into the weekend, finding a way to rest, relax, because the body will hold a lot of stress. You could easily tell somebody, yeah, I'm fine. Somebody says, hey, how you doing? You say, oh, I'm good, I'm fine. You just kind of talk, you say the words, but is it really how you feel? And are you really just fine? And, we tell our acquaintances that, when we pass somebody in the hallway at work or school or whatever, like, yeah, I'm good. Because you just don't want to get down to the truth of, maybe what's bothering you. There's quite a difference between getting through the week and just like straight up being present. And the one thing about just getting through the week is, you push yourself from task to task. You just move, and it's robotic, and it's just trying to get through everything so you can just count down the time until the day is done, until you can, get home, relax, and get some sleep. If you're just trying to survive the day, you can end up feeling disconnected or just flat numb from the ongoings around you. And you're doing what you have to do, maybe not what you really want to do. It's kind of look at the energy that you do have as just a matter of just trying to make it to the end of the day. Now, on the contrary, being present is about actually experiencing what's happening. It feels like, you're able to notice your emotions, your surroundings. And you're actually engaged instead of just being checked out. Actually engaged in conversations, engaged in activities. And those activities can range from the variety of different things at work to, different activities at school, sports teams, athletic teams, and your family. Spending time with them. Are you really spending time with them, or are you just kind of there? Are you checked out? Are you able to respond to someone like with thought, or are you just reacting? Do you have as I mentioned before, do you have that energy of just trying to make it through the end of the day? Or do you have that energy of like, I'm here, like I'm aware of what's happening, and, I'm ready to take action? So, what we want to look at is, the fact of acknowledging the week and everything that occurred in it this past week. It matters more than pretending that it didn't affect you. Pretending that it didn't happen doesn't make it any better, doesn't make it go away. And so if this week took more from you than you expected, if it was excessively stressful, it's okay to let this moment, this time, this weekend to be a reset. So one thing to think about for this weekend is that it's supposed to be that opportunity to decompress. And you need to ensure that you're looking at rest, that rest and the time on the weekend, it's not a reward, okay? You didn't survive the week and you get your gold star and you get a reward of, hey, now you can rest for 48 hours. That's not the point. The idea is that the rest and that time you get on the weekend, it's a requirement. It's not just something that you get to have. Because unfortunately, weekends come and a lot of people, they put their chores off. They got to mow the lawn. They got to clean the house. They got to, do laundry or any number of, tasks that need to be done to kind of maintain your sense of living, your lifestyle. And so, weekends can easily get filled with obligations rather than rest. The time for, hobbies, the time for spending time with friends, going out, having a beer, or, like tonight. Tonight was NBA Finals, right? Game 2, Knicks and Spurs. It was a great game. It was a fun game to watch. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I love watching the drama of sports, especially in the championships. I didn't watch probably 5 minutes of basketball all season long, but I've been watching the playoffs, and now I'm watching the finals, and I love the drama. It's just awesome to me, and it's so enjoyable to watch these guys, put everything they got out on the court to go out there, perform in an effort to win this championship for their city, and their teammates and their families and everything. And so coming back around to it, watching the sports, it's an opportunity to rest. It's an opportunity to sit down and just take some time for yourself, watch a game. Like I said, maybe have a beer, maybe watch a game with friends, family, and maybe if your team is if you're a fan of one of the teams, then obviously watching your team compete. And as we talked about obligations, sometimes you realize that you do have a lot of obligations, and you might need to take care of some of those chores that I mentioned. And so now you're trying to forcibly schedule time to ensure that not only can you get these obligations or things that you feel are obligations, get those things done, but then, okay, well, what time do you have for your hobbies? Whatever that is. What time during the weekend or your time off you have for your family? And if you're in a frame of mind where you're chasing a goal, and mentors will tell you, well, you need to make sacrifices if you want to achieve these goals. The only way you can achieve it is through sacrifice. And they're not wrong. But at what cost? What is the cost of the sacrifice? Should you sacrifice your entire weekend to achieve or take steps towards that goal? Maybe. Maybe not. That's for you to decide. And the reason I say that it's a maybe and maybe not is because, if you're going to sacrifice, let's say, Sea of Thieves, great game. It's fun to play. It is relaxing. And maybe you got some friends that you play with on a regular basis, and you game for a few hours. Can you sacrifice that time? Maybe. Maybe not. It's really up to you. But I would venture to say that if your kids got soccer, on Saturday afternoon, or, a basketball game, or, some other event, something else that they're into, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, something like that. Maybe that time, maybe that sacrifice, maybe that's something that you don't want to sacrifice. If you, they say, right, you got to make sacrifices. Well, I would venture to say that sacrificing video game time may be worth it, but it may not be worth it to sacrifice going to see my kids play their sport. Because of how important it is to them, right? They want to see their parent, They want to see their loved one. They want to see their family out in the stands or on the sideline watching. And so there were things that I would not compromise on in the pursuit of my goals. There were hard lines drawn in the sand. I could work hard, I could do this, I could do that, I could do all these different things to progress towards my goals. But I would put that off in order to be there for my kids, to be there to support them and to let them see me supporting them. There are some things that are not worth sacrificing for your goals, but only you can make that determination. Don't let somebody else decide it for you. Now, we're talking about rest. We're talking about relaxing on the weekend, and if you are, deeply in pursuit of a goal, slowing down and taking a knee on a weekend can feel uncomfortable. It can feel guilty. Especially if your goal is team oriented, meaning it's not a individual goal, it's something that you're working with another person or several people and they're depending on you. And they expect you to be present. They expect you to attend the event or the thing or whatever it is, to participate. They expect your participation. And this is where, dependability comes into play. Are you going to be considered dependable, or are you not? Now, obviously, communication is key. And if you need the time, don't be afraid to tell them you need the time. There was a time where I was trying to build out an eBay business. Buying items at, garage sales, yard sales, flea markets, thrift shops, and then flipping them on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, other sites, in order to make a little extra cash, make a little extra money. And I kind of got, I got decent. I wasn't any of these, super, large. I worked out of my basement by myself, and, I had fun doing it. But there would come a time where I'd be working in my office and, photographing and packing and listing and typing up my descriptions and, making sure I got all my inventory and doing all my paperwork, my taxes, all the things that come with trying to run a business, trying to be an entrepreneur. And, my son might come in and say, "Hey, Dad, can we watch a movie?" And when I was in the military for over 24 years, and I was gone a lot of years, not months, a lot of years. I was gone, and missed out on a lot of opportunities. And what I can say is, the last time we moved, before I retired from the Army, I was starting up on eBay. I was getting everything started. I was moving. I really felt like I was doing good. Things were moving. Things were going well, and I was very content with my progress. I was hitting goals, and I my son came and said, "Hey, can we watch a movie?" And I told him no. I said I'm busy. Like maybe another day. And he kind of looked at me kind of dejected, right? Like he's like, oh, I could see it in his face, right? The body language. And then he just kind of turned and walked away and went to go do, whatever it is he was going to do. And I sat down at my desk and I started typing or I started doing something and, it just started weighing on me, like, heavily. Like, I really felt genuinely bad that I just told my son, yeah, just, like, no, I do not want to spend time with you right now. Like, all of this hobby entrepreneurship thing that I got going on is more important than you. I mean, I didn't say those words, but that's pretty much how it came through. And so I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go watch this movie. And so I got up, said, hey, dude, you still want to watch the movie? He was like, yeah. So we sat down and we watched the movie for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And, it was cool. We talked about it afterward, what'd you think? What'd you think about this? What'd you think about that? So on and so forth. And it was a good time. And so that day I made a pact with myself. I was going to stop telling my kids no. Meaning, no, I'm not going to spend time with you. Or no, I'm busy. Or no, I can't do that right now because I have tasks and things to do. Because I'm trying to achieve my goals. I was making sacrifices for my hobby, my entrepreneurial hobby. But what I forgot in that moment, that day, was that I had been making sacrifices for over 20 years. And I was upset about it, through my career. Oh, I'm missing another birthday. Oh, I'm missing another Christmas. Oh, I'm missing another anniversary. I don't even know how many Christmases I missed. And so now I felt like I had the power. I had the power to make a decision, and I had the power and the option and the opportunity to change it, to change my way of and make a decision on what I was going to sacrifice. And so I decided I'm not telling my kids no anymore. And so, we play video games together. I mean, my kids are older now. They're teenagers and young adults. And we still play video games together. We go to the movie theater together. We watch television shows together. And we have a great relationship. And I'm, I don't want it to come across as bragging. I want it to come across that I have pride, and I'm proud of our relationship. And so when we come back around to the weekend, don't sacrifice what matters most. Make the sacrifices, but know the cost. And again, going back to the ongoings of the week, the stress of the week is you're not working all week in order to earn the opportunity to rest. It's yours. You deserve it, and you just need to allow it. You just need to allow yourself to sit down, take a breath, and literally, potentially do nothing. Literally just sit and enjoy, maybe sit, if you have a front porch or a deck or something, open the windows and just enjoy some of the, atmosphere outside. You know, hope maybe there's a thunderstorm or something that you can just kind of chill and listen to. And I think we were just kind of sailing past there's a storm out there somewhere. There it is. Nope, that's the other one. Yeah. So, but make time to rest, make time to enjoy yourself on the weekend. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're just going to take a rest for a moment. Enjoy the waves. I'm going to skirt this storm up ahead. Listen, be able to enjoy some of the thunder. And let's just sit and enjoy the silence for a moment. After we brush against the storm a little bit, then we're going to talk about the week ahead. I love thunderstorms, man. There's just something so serene, even though thunderstorms can be so violent. There is something so serene about the crackling of thunder, watching lightning light up the sky. It's just beautiful. All right. So, we all know what comes after Sunday night. The dreaded Monday morning. But a new week is just another chance to take the next steps towards our goals, to move forward, and to, work towards success. A lot of people dread Monday so badly before it even arrives. I've known people that literally get sick to their stomach on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, because they're so stressed about going into work and dealing with their boss or maybe some coworkers or whatever. But they literally get sick to their stomach. It's just so unfortunate because they carry that stress with them through the weekend when they're supposed to be resting, right? They're supposed to be winding down and relaxing. So I guess the one thing is, what can you do to negate some of the stress that comes on Sunday as you prepare to go back to work or go back to school and deal with the people that you have to deal with, the boss, teachers, coworkers, classmates. What's something that you can work on or focus on in order to alleviate some of that stress? Think of, the positive things that are going on during the week as well. Maybe you have an event coming up midweek. Maybe you're going to an event. Maybe you're going to a concert or something. What do you have to look forward to? Cancel culture, right? Cancel the negative. Just try to not focus on that, but focus on the positive for the week. And those goals that you're working on, continue to break them down into small, short-term goals, small repeatable actions, so you can get those easy wins. If you know how you can get that, an easy win, do it. Rig the game in your favor so you can accomplish the goals that you've set for yourself. So keep in mind, you do not have to get everything figured out. You just want to be able to take the next step. Be able to take one step in the direction of your goals. An easy win. It's not worth the stress of trying to get it all done at once. That's an awesome sunset. We're gonna sail right into this as we close out this stream. Well, this is a beautiful sunset. And I just want to say thanks for ending your week here with me on this stream. I hope that you feel a little lighter, and I hope you leave tonight feeling a little lighter. Remember, take your weekend at your own pace. If you ever want a boost or a reminder of what we talked about today, you can always revisit the stream here on Twitch or on YouTube. I wish you a smooth start to next week, and I hope it meets you with a little ease, a little more ease. So again, have a great night, and whatever you're working towards, just keep moving forward and get it done. Good night.